I keep pointing out everybody is Mandela affected. There are no exceptions. Everybody's going through it. Some people will fight tooth and nail to deny it. The Mandela effect's real. You people need to stop denying it.
No such thing as the unaffected. We only have deniers.
Today's pseudo-scientific paradigm is designed to take you out of reality and into pseudo-reality. Real science becomes fake science when arguments based on consensus belief trumps observational data. When Mandela effect pushers make arguments on the authority of collective memory, they're using fake science to prop up a false paradigm. They are misinterpreting observational data by not accounting for their fallibility of the observer, in this case, themselves. This is why objective evidence matters. Individual perceivers are not only capable of being wrong, but they are also doubly capable of defending their wrongness once it becomes entrenched as dogma. What can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. Hitchens' razor. Extraordinary claims without evidence can be disregarded without reference to counter-evidence. The claims of the affected are well-intentioned misremembrances and are unfalsifiable. They assert their Mandela effect is true, even though the theory cannot contradicted by an observation or the outcome of any physical experiment. When one so-called effect is debunked, they move on to the next one. Nothing can prove it wrong, just as nothing can prove that aliens aren't abducting unicorns to vaccinate them against chemtrails. The person making the claim owns the burden of proof. There is no obligation on behalf of the skeptic to provide evidence to counter such a claim. Occam's and Hitchens' razors are enough. Miracle. An extraordinary and astonishing happening that is attributed to the presence and action of an ultimate or divine power. Why do people want the Mandela effect to be true? Because it's miraculous. People choose to believe in miracles for many reasons. It's an escape from objective reality over which we are ostensibly powerless. Miracles make us players in a bigger cosmic game. Miracles are comforting, validating, and life-changing. The Mandela effect, referred to as ME by its true believers, is a miraculous occurrence. To experience a Mandela effect is to have penetrated the programming of the matrix and gleaned insights into the holographic, shifting, and subjective nature of reality. Miracles have traditionally been associated with religions as their claims to authenticity. The performance of miracles in front of witnesses is all it takes to start a cult of believers. Cults of believers provide all the social and cognitive reinforcement required to ensure the group grows. So long as the miracles are legitimate and the faith is strong, the cult will persist. Such aggregate of believers gain confidence and even belligerence as their numbers reinforce the meaningfulness of the miracle which has brought them all together. Leaders in such groups will invariably have to warn the believers about the non-believers. Those heretics whose words have the power to disintegrate the cult. Such nonconformers must have to be corrected or exiled. These exiles will be demonized in the harshest of terms to ensure the others don't make the same error. The Mandela effect is caused by faulty eyewitness testimony, influenced by the suggestions of the person who is pointing out the supposed discrepancy. It's not a paradigm-shattering revelation. It only appears that way to those who are affected. A million people misremembering can add the illusion of credibility to any supposed Mandela effect. It only takes a fraction of the population to misremember something for a viral video on the topic to get a show of support in favor of the supposed discrepancy. It has long been speculated that mistaken eyewitness identification plays a major role in the wrongful conviction of innocent individuals. A growing body of research now supports this speculation, indicating that mistaken eyewitness identification is responsible for more convictions of the innocent than all other factors combined. The Innocence Project determined that 75% of the 239 DNA exoneration cases had occurred due to inaccurate eyewitness testimony. It is important to inform the public about the flawed nature of eyewitness memory and the difficulties relating to its use in the criminal justice system, so that eyewitnesses' accounts are not viewed as the absolute truth. The suggestion of a discrepancy is all it takes. That suggestion of a misperception is an example of gaslighting, a subtle form of psychological abuse where the victim is caused to doubt their own sanity and perception. When someone says, "Are you sure you know that?" or "Everybody knows," it chips at your confidence in your own perceptions. The interrogator framing the question has the great power to influence what is recollected. For example, if an interrogator asks, "Notice anything strange about your favorite brand of peanut butter?" the answer would mostly be unrelated to the Mandela effect. But what if the question is posited as, "Do you remember that famous brand of peanut butter as Jif or Jiffy?" Then you have to choose your side. Was it Jiffy or Jif? When such a question is asked, your cognitive bias towards what feels right will naturally lead you to a confident response. That initial confidence plus the interrogator bias reinforces that answer. In the absence of counter evidence, they have no reason to doubt their recollection. The problem is, there is no counter evidence. Either they remember it right and the evidence confirms this, or they are wrong, but their bias will now attach them to the wrong answers. Bottom line, the Mandela affected are wrong. But the way it was framed led them to choose the wrong answer where the evidence is no longer in this reality. This is a subtle sleight of mind trick. and it works. The Mandela pusher is telling you to doubt your perceptions. Gaslighters do the same. Are you certain? When certainty was never important or necessary. It's not about Jiff or Jiffy or misremembered song lyrics. It has no implications for reality. The gaslighting Mandela effect pusher get the questionnaire to accept the premise that reality is fake. Their job is to make reality a dream, simulation, or illusion. That way, your critique on fake news carries no weight. If you think the earth is flat, but you also think your dog was a cat yesterday, then you're no longer a credible witness of anything. And you're a candidate for involuntary incarceration. Witnesses can be subject to memory distortions that can alter their account of events. It is of particular interest that the memory of an eyewitness can become compromised by other information, such that an individual's memory becomes biased. The Mandela affected interrogator is contaminating the witnesses. This is called retroactive interference. Another phenomenon that may interfere with an eyewitness's memory is retroactive interference. This occurs when new information is processed that obstructs the retrieval of old information. A common source of interference that may occur after the event of a crime is the reporting of the crime. Police investigations includes questioning that is often suggestive. The processing of new information may disrupt or entirely replace old information. The matter is further complicated when large numbers of people who are in total agreement about something they are wrong about introduces social and cognitive reinforcements of those incorrect memories. PSYOPs in the news are being exposed daily. Their way of contaminating the research pool is by suggesting people who don't believe or trust the news cannot trust their own perceptions nor trust their own judgment. They use conspiracy theorists, people with theories and guesses but no real actionable evidence, to hide the real deceptions. The more they can get perceivers to doubt their perceptions, the more those perceivers will be forced to rely on experts. The more they rely on experts, the less they know directly. This is what it makes them into believers and followers. President Trump said it may be necessary for people with mental illness to be involuntarily confined. This was stated in the aftermath of the shooting at the Walmart in El Paso, Texas. Mandela effect attacks the idea of objective reality. If nothing is objective, then there is no truth. A Mandela effect affected person is in no position to take the media to task for making extraordinary statements without evidence. It's a self-discrediting for a perceiver to admit no ability to admit when they are caught in an emotional attachment to a wrong answer.